When it comes to medium format film cameras, you might think of the Mamiya RZ67, the Pentax 67 and the Hasselblad 500C. But not many people think of this camera. The Fuijica GM670. Released in 1974, the Fuijica GM670 is infamous for its front shutter button. The camera itself only weighs 3 pounds or 1.6 kilos, which is about double the weight of what I'm filming on right now, the Canon R6 Mark II. But if I were to add my 24 to 105mm lens, that is the rough weight that you would get. But when you add the prime lens, which I have, which is the 100mm 3.5, it goes up to 1.8 kilos. So you get a rough idea on how heavy the camera is. It's a bit of a chunky boy. Being this weight, the camera is extremely sturdy, and I'm assuming that's what you would expect. From the leaf shutter, to winding the advanced lever, turning the shutter speed and the aperture dials, and the ding that it makes when you take an image. Even with this camera that I'm filming on right now, it doesn't provide the feedback that I want from my cameras. I can use an electronic shutter mode, which is brilliant. It shoots 40 frames per second, but there's no... The images do not feel real, if that makes sense. The camera doesn't provide much feedback. It gets the images and it does the job really, really well, but it feels more like a tool, whereas the Fuijica GM670 allows me to have almost like an artistic expression through my work, just by being the way that it is. To the camera being a Rangefinder style medium format film camera, it essentially works like a big 35mm. Is the film more expensive? Yes. Is the cameras more expensive? Yes. But is it worth it? Absolutely. With the Rangefinder style of the camera, it is perfect for my style of work. I like to shoot images that are quite run and gun. I go to a location not necessarily knowing what I'm going to shoot or how I'm going to shoot it. So having this Rangefinder style is much better because I can see the thing I want to shoot, and I can look at the rangefinder and I can look directly at what I'm going to photograph. Whereas, say with the Mamiya RZ67, I'd have to look down into the camera, and as they have, like, I'm not sure what the name is, but the mirror on top to look forward, it's an extra step in the photography process that I don't necessarily want. You don't find many rangefinder style cameras like it anymore, in my opinion, that I've seen anyway. The camera, it looks like a piece of art and inspires me to make more. The camera itself is also completely manual, which is completely different to what I'm used to. Say for this camera, for example, I can see a square whilst I'm recording, that it's focused on my face, in my eye. I can have full trust in the sense of I've put a setting on and it will alter if needs be. And with this completely manual film camera, it's all on me, and it's something that I thoroughly enjoy with a lot of older style film cameras, as it makes me as a photographer think more about what I'm shooting, how I'm shooting it, and what do I really want from this image. Whereas these mirrorless cameras nowadays, you can just shoot as many images as you want with no consequences, because you can come back and go, oh, I don't like that, edit it in Lightroom, or take thousands and thousands of images until you get the right one. Whereas with this, not a chance. You have to compose the images almost perfectly to how you want them. The light meter, you have to make sure works all the time. I use one on my phone, as I lost mine, and it brings me with so much joy when I'm shooting, because it makes me think, and I feel like that almost is lost in today's age of photography. For a long while I used the camera as almost like a B camera, because I was lucky enough to be given it in unfortunate circumstances, but it came with a whole pack of Portra 120 or 200, I can't remember for the life of me, and it was expired in 2017, so the image quality and the image colors I had, your guess was as good as mine of what was really going to come out. So yeah, I use it as a B camera for a lot of the shoots whilst doing my final major project at uni, and I was quite surprised actually with the images that came out. The colors held up okay, I guess. They weren't as vibrant as I was expecting, but you never know with the expired what's going to happen with them. The images actually had an imprint of the shot number because of the way it was stored. It was in a slightly warmer environment, so the shot number had it imprinted on the images in the developing process, which I actually think is pretty cool, and something that I actually quite like quite a lot. But the camera itself held up really, really well. I pushed it in different environments. I used it for indoor portrait shots. I used it outdoors when it was up on Dartmoor. It was freezing, it was snowing, but it worked brilliantly, and I think that's why I love it so much. There's no electronics, so nothing except from a few cogs can go wrong, and I thoroughly appreciate that. Due to its age, I feel as though it does go under the radar quite a lot, and it's a Fujica name, whereas the Fuji cameras nowadays are known as Fujifilm. So I don't know whether it gets lost in translation, like the name of the camera isn't as well known, but it's just a beautiful camera. It looks like a piece of art, and I feel like personally you need pieces of art to help you make pieces of art. You need inspiration, and this camera is perfect for it. The dials are amazing when you're turning them. The feedback you get is brilliant, and you don't get that with modern day cameras. As I've mentioned before, I'm filming on the R6. There's no tactile experience. It does it all for me. It feels almost like a paintbrush in the sense of it gives you the feedback, but you wouldn't, as a professional painter, be painting on Procreate if you're making paintworks. If you're selling prints maybe, but if you're doing an actual paintwork, you would paint with a paintbrush. And I feel like you need to be making something physical, and that's where the film cameras come in, and that's where I feel like this camera needs to be spoken about a lot more. Having just finished my degree in commercial photography, it made me realise the importance of having photography as a source of self-expression and your own artistic outlet. In the commercial world, that's not possible. You are to fill a client brief, you need to be getting out certain products, certain images with certain models. Something that I necessarily want to do. I don't particularly enjoy it. I'd rather be taking images of the world around me. Adding my own look, adding my own way that I see the world, and I feel like that's so much more important as a photographer and as an artist. Seeing photography is a form of self-expression, and as an art form you need a camera that allows you to take images as self-expression based and seeing it as an art form. And this is where I think that the Fuijica GM670 takes that spot. It is a real gem.